The Flow film is an award-winning documentary directed by Irina Selina, a French-born filmmaker. To get a gist of the film, take a look at the trailer, with permission granted from the director. Flow's organization has petitioned the United Nations to add the right to water to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The Article 31 states, "Everyone has the right to clean and accessible water, adequate for the health and well-being of the individual and family, and no one shall be deprived of such access or quality of water due to individual economic circumstance." The basic premise of the film: the world is running out of fresh water. The threats to our most precious resource, the political, social, and environmental connections, the public's awareness and assumptions, the solutions to the water crisis. Background information. There are 1.1 billion people who have no access to fresh water. 2 million die each year from waterborne diseases. Most are children under 5 years of age. Approximately 7 million get sick from tap water. There are 51 known water contaminants that are not regulated. 40% of influenza and stomach viruses are from contaminated drinking water. The arguments. Water is a natural resource. It is not a property and should not be sold. Water privatization and the organizations behind it are the World Bank, governments, and water cartels, whose primary interest is profit, not providing safe and affordable access to water. The evidence cited by the film: the World Bank dam projects. The World Bank began creating big dams in the 1940s because they are really expensive. To make a profit, the bank has to make about 20 billion a year. To boost profit, they build dams. However, building dams displaces people. The World Bank has legal immunity, meaning they cannot be sued for these infractions. Dams trap organic matter used to feed life forms. It begins to rot and create methane gas that contributes to the greenhouse effect. Larger farmers benefit, not the poor people. Bolivia's solidarity against the government. In 1999, Bolivia's government privatized the water in Cochabamba. The citizens revolted in the streets, and in 2007, the privatization ended and water was returned to the people. In 1997, the World Water Council promoted corporate takeover of water. Big water companies, World Bank of International Development agencies, stated the vision of water is a future based on water as a market good. Bottled water is a $400 billion industry. It is the third largest behind electricity and oil. Selena's investigation spanned North and South America, Asia, Africa, and South Africa. She interviewed scientists, activists, corporate representatives to build a case on the water crisis on both a global and human scale. Is this phenomenon new? Does it relate to other ongoing issues? And is the issue contentious? The phenomenon is not new. It dates back to 150 years, and it is always a contentious issue. The water crisis presents other related issues. It alters ecosystems, displaces hundreds of thousands of people, For instance, the Katse Dam in Lesotho, it displaced 17,000 people. The Xylo Langdi Dam in China, it relocated and displaced 200,000 people. The Akosombo Dam in Ghana, it displaced 80,000 people. The Three Gorges Dam in China displaced 1.3 million people. The other issue is that it affects mothers and school-aged children. For example, in Africa alone, 40 billion hours is spent collecting water in a year, a task usually done by women and children. The water source is unprotected and can make them sick. Who are the stakeholders and what are the implications? The stakeholders are less developed countries, more developed countries, corporate culprits, and bottled water companies. The implication would be, as Margaret Cately Carlson puts it, water is an astonishingly complex and subtle force in an economy. It is the single constraint on the expansion of every city, and bankers and corporate executives have cited it as the only natural limit to economic growth. And why does this matter? Without water, there is no life, no economy, and no freedom. Water shortages becomes a corporate opportunity. Water is going to grow 2 to 3 times the global economy in the next 20 years. According to a statement by UNESCO, by 2050, the world's population is estimated to grow by 3 billion, and 90% of this growth will be in the developing world. Unless sustainable water solutions are scaled fast, regions already stressed for safe water sources will be over capacity. What are the solutions and resolutions? The Millennium Development Goal of 2015. The Millennium Development Goal was established in 2000 by the United Nations General Assembly as one of the targets to halve the proportion of people without access to safe drinking water. Another solution is water purification using UV light. UV light kills bacteria and pathogens. Freshwater wells. Freshwater wells are built for $4,000. Over 900 play pumps now bring water to 2 million in parts of Africa. Water harvesting. Water harvesting collects rainwater. Federal Trust Fund to repair infrastructure. This is to get federal legislation to establish a federal trust fund to fix aging infrastructure. Food marches. Food marches is a literacy movement to fight government water privatization policy. Marches have taken place in India, South America, Thailand, Mexico, Ecuador, Argentina, Bolivia, and Washington, D.C. This is an example of a food march. The ongoing debate. Water privatization exploits the poor. Water demands will outweigh supply. Groundwater reserves are depleting rapidly. Water crisis is due to mismanagement and not scarcity. India's ongoing debate. India's ongoing debate concerns water rights to landowners, uncontrolled use of bore well technology, groundwater reserves are depleting rapidly, poor water management, and lax government laws. The UNICEF report on Indian water states there will be constant competition over water between farming families and urban dwellers, environmental conservationists and industrialists, minorities living off natural resources, and entrepreneurs seeking to turn it into a commodity resource base for commercial gain. How does these issues play out in Georgia? Tri-state negotiations on the Apalachicola, Chattahoochee, Flint, and the Alabama Coosa Tallapoosa water basins. Since the 1970s, these tri-state negotiations continues between Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. In 2011, Governor Deal approved $300 million for new water projects like reservoirs, wells, water delivery system interconnections, indirect potable water reuse, emerging technologies like desalination, aquifer storage, and recovery. How does these issues play out in the United States? Americans are drinking more bottled water than ever before. They perceive that tap water is unsafe. 3 out of 4 Americans drink bottled water. In 2007, Americans spent $10.8 billion on bottled water. The bottled water industry is the third largest behind electricity and oil. We spend $100 billion on bottled water each year. The FDA has assigned less than 1% of the employees to inspect and regulate the multi-billion dollar bottled water industry. How does these issues play out globally? Bolivia's waters privatization. Bolivia's water privatization was forced on Bolivia by the World Bank in 1997. They were told they will be cut off from the water development if they don't comply. In South Africa, they have a pay-per-use system using water meters. This is difficult for the poor people because they don't have the money necessary to prepay to get water from these pumps. In India, the Ganges flow is interrupted by the dam. The Ganges water is considered sacred. The dam affects the belief of 1 billion people. Bottled water company takes 635 million liters a day from the Ganga. As the World Commission puts it, in the 21st century, 40 to 80 million were displaced by large dams with promises of new homes and electricity, and no one is accountable. The film's credibility. Flow is an award-winning documentary. On December 10, 2008, Flow was invited to screen at the United Nations as part of the 60th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights.